welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf alongside Nick Wright, Brandon Marshall, Kevin Wiles. If you are anywhere in the tri-state area, maybe even the Northeast, we're buried under about a foot of snow. We are cozy. We are all set to go, so don't go anywhere. Stay in bed. We got you covered. Yeah.
And give your kids a snow day. If your school's like, oh no, because it's virtual now. There's no snow days.
No.
Find a way.
Kids, stay home.
As the responsible...
Go make snowmen. Go make snowmen.
As the responsible
so
member
snow
of this
days are just gone now? Snow days are just gone now.
Stay in school.
That's great. That's great.
No, you gotta learn.
Stay in school, but you get a snow day. Kids, you have the day off.
We're already off to a blazing start.
Congrats.
Guys, let's go. I'm not going to start the show off this great snowy morning by telling you Houston has a problem, but a problem Houston has. James Harden finally spoke to the media. First time since requesting a trade. Remember, he showed up late to training camp, and then he didn't speak to the media following his debut Tuesday night. But last night, he did open up, sort of. Here's James Harden.
Do you still want the Rockets to trade you? And if so, why?
Right now, I'm just focused on being here. You know, today was good. Yesterday felt really good being out there. The first time since the bubble. Haven't really had an opportunity to do a lot of 5-on-5 work, but for my first time being out there, I think I felt pretty good. So,
James, what was the point that you were trying to get across when you went to Atlanta and Vegas when training camp was starting?
I was just training.
What were you training for?
The start of the NBA season.
How did going to Atlanta and Vegas help you there when the Rockets were starting training camp in Houston?
Just my personal trainers.
Yeah. For all you young reporters out there, that's how you do it. You follow up and you follow up and you follow up till you still don't get what you want. Nick, I'll start with you. How telling was James Harden's first media session since his trade request?
All right, before I answer the question, and I wish I had an old school press hat to put on, I'm going to do a little journalism here. I used to live in Houston. I covered this team. I still have some folks down there. I can independently confirm that James Harden was with his trainers, and I can tell you who they are. There's one named Cinnamon. There was one named Destiny he was with. And I think Jade was also prominently involved.
Wow.
But I don't know which city was which. So he wasn't lying. He was with his trainers, and he was getting ready for the NBA season. You can go ahead and put that on the bottom line. It's not a Woj bomb. It's a right bomb. Go ahead and report that out. Hey, man, Brandon, what'd the Rockets say? We're ready to get uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Okay. It's going to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And part of demanding a trade, if you don't then immediately get traded, is not showing up and acting like everything's fine, because that de-incentivizes the team to trade you. James doesn't want to be there, and he's going to act as such. Now, I do believe now that he is there, Brandon, he is going to, when the season starts, produce at the level of one of the greatest scorers we've ever had in this league. I don't think he's going to tank games. I don't think he's going to mail in effort. But I think the interactions with the media, coaches, front office are going to be, as the Rockets put it, Brandon, uncomfortable.
That's right. No, you're 100% right. Hey, Jenna, I remember being in that same seat. That is the worst place you can be as a player.
You
know those hard questions are coming. Yeah, I mean, whatever you say, you're going to be wrong. If you talk about CP3, Westbrook, and why these guys don't want to play with you, did you ask for them to be traded, or why would they want to be traded? Like, you're just going to lose there. So you just got to go up there and give the most generic answer. Look, this is how it's going to be until he's traded. It's going to be uncomfortable for everyone, even James Harden. Players don't want to be in that position. That's why he didn't talk to the media yesterday. So, look, James Harden is one of those guys, like Nick said, is going to go out there and ball, but this is one of the reasons why you need to figure out how to move this guy ASAP. I mean, I don't want my teammates answering these questions every single day, and, you know, the coaching staff and ownership. This is going to be a problem, Wilds, until he's traded.
But Brandon, you've seen a lot of press conferences. You've done a lot of press conferences. This press conference on the uncomfortability scale did not crack the top 100. If this is as worse as it's going to get, that he sits there and just deflects it and says, yeah, I'm focused on the season, then so be it. This is not that uncomfortable. We've seen things go really sideways in press conferences. This was overall fine. It's a mountain out of a molehill right now.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. I never understood why we had to talk to the media once a week, and if we didn't, we'll get fined. And one day, I think it was John Lynch, safety, now the general manager for the 49ers, came up to me and said, Brandon, the reason why you got to talk is because they're the ones that pay our bill. The business around our sport is because it's media driven. So a lot of times players don't understand why we have to do it, but it's part of being a professional athlete. It's part of being a pro. And James Harden, he's going to have to sit up there every single day, and he's going to have to answer the tough questions. And he's going to make it uncomfortable for everyone, Nick.
And now that you're on this side of it, Brandon, doesn't it feel good to have some to lead a show with? Because James Harden spoke.
There you go.
Guys. So yesterday, a report came out adding another layer to Harden's ongoing situation. The report said the Rockets' culture could be pretty much summed up as, quote, whatever James Harden wants, including taking trips on off days, excused absences from practice. Nick, do you think the Rockets gave Harden too much power?
No, I don't. And I'm going to say something that I don't think anyone on TV is going to say today, but I believe it to my core. If James Harden is traded today, the James Harden Rockets era was a massive success. Since he got there, they are the only team in the league to make the playoffs every year. They were the only team to put any type of fear whatsoever into a healthy Golden State team once they got Durant. And I understand what people are screaming at their television screens, but they didn't win a title. Here's the ugly truth about the NBA, my favorite sport. Let's go back 40 years. 40 years, 1980 to now. How many champions didn't have one of the 20 greatest players in the history of the sport on their roster? 2. The 2019 Raptors, who won because the other team was decimated by injury, and Wild's beloved 04 Pistons. That's the list. You know how you win titles in this league? You have a player that is a top of the pyramid all-time great. So if James Harden failed, it's because he wasn't quite good enough. While he was great, he wasn't better than Steph, he wasn't better than Durant, he wasn't better than LeBron. And guess what? Steph, Durant, LeBron get all the titles. That's how the NBA works. And so they gave him a lot of power. It worked as well as it realistically could have, Brandon.
Nick, look,
great take.
They didn't give him too much power, but James Harden is tripping. He's straight tripping. Look, he took it way too far. He definitely did. Now we're starting to see why they couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. Now we're starting to see why they imploded in the playoffs. How do you go through the regular season, ball, be so dynamic and electrifying, and then get into the postseason and you go 3 for 20? Like, come on. Now we're seeing it because it's in the details, because it's the little things. These are the things that LeBron James is willing to do. LeBron James is willing to be a great leader on the court, off the court. LeBron James treats the janitor the same way he treats AD. He's not willing to do that. James Harden is tripping. James Harden needs to look himself in the mirror and figure out who he wants to be as a person, because the reports that's coming out, they're not pretty. And if I was in the locker room with James Harden, it would have been some problems. This is where I struggle in the National Football League in the locker room. Guys, if you don't want to be on time, if you don't want to do things the right way, if you don't want to be a pro every single day, then you're going to be held accountable. This is the reason why Wilds, this team hasn't achieved the ultimate, and that's winning a championship, because of James Harden's behavior off the court and how he treats people.
Okay, so I think I'm in the middle between you guys. I'm nowhere near what Nick is saying, where, quote, part of the success of the Rockets is, quote, they put fear in Golden State, which is a great quality if you're managing a haunted house or you run one of those Halloween stores and you're selling costumes. But for an NBA team, that is actually not a qualifier. But Brandon, I am not that mad at him for sort of like living a normal life of a rich person. And my buddy Ben Dietrich, who was on the Cookies Hoops podcast, had two good tweets that I wanted to show you now that I think perfectly encapsulate what I'm talking about. The first is this: 99% of the criticism directed at James Harden feels unearthed from a 1996 time capsule, including a vinyl copy of Stakes Is High by De La Soul. I went to a De La Soul concert in Philly. Goody Mob open. Next tweet. Oh boy, Mr. Practice, hanging with rappers, wanted spending instead of investing in treasury bonds. Like, I buy this a little bit. Like, he's doing rich guy stuff like, oh, but Kevin, he took private planes. Like, you know who else did? Mike Bloomberg. Like, that's how it works. Like, oh, he was hanging out with Lil Baby. Like, so what? I don't care. It's just normal rich guy stuff. Sorry that he's not like constantly posting his hyperbaric chamber to score points with the media. Like, wow, another hyperbaric chamber, post. I'm so impressed. You're sleeping with those huge things on your leg. No offense to House.
Go.